All right, so I'm Laurent with Helena and Laurent, and Helena was supposed to be here. We were going to present on partnership. And, here I am. And honestly, the last 2 weeks have been just like the craziest, most life-altering weeks of my life. Just like so crazy. And we realized in doing this that we kind of had to change up like all the content. I mean, for one, I'm giving a talk on partnership alone, so that's weird. So we changed it up, and we realized we really needed to talk about how to create more powerful images, but not like how to create the most awesome Instagram photo, not how to win the competitions, not how to impress all your photo friends, because we are like the snobbiest photo people ever. But actually how to create powerful images for our couples. Super different thing, okay? So I want to look at some of the crazy moments in my life. We're looking at death today, we're looking at life, and we're looking at weddings. Now, I believe that the world is chaos, right? And we as artists have the ability and the responsibility to look through all of this disorder, all of this craziness, and start to find stories and human connection, right? When we embrace this chaos and we learn to look for these connections, we're able to make more powerful images for our couples. That's simple, but not at all. That was a clip from a movie called Samsara. It's an awesome movie. So let's break it down. I think we're going to talk about some weird things today, like even talking about chaos or creativity. So I don't think you guys are dumb. I just want to go through like basic stuff. We're going to go through like really basic stuff here, okay? Chaos. Like what the hell are we talking about? Chaos. Complete disorder and confusion. This is like how I feel at the beginning of every shoot. Complete disorder and confusion. This is kind of what life feels like to me sometimes, you know? Behavior so unpredictable as to appear random, owing to great sensitivity to small changes in conditions. At one point I did a social experiment where we had a group of people moving towards and away from each other, and that was it. Just a group of people, the bell would ring, you would move towards the people you like and away from the people you don't. And the pattern was chaotic. People are really complicated. There's a lot of stuff going on. Creativity. We're going real basic, right? Creativity this is my favorite definition of creativity I found. Creativity is a phenomenon where something new and somehow valuable is formed, right? So like, this is what we do. We take chaos and we make it into something new. We make it into something that's actually quite valuable. And actually, American composer and lyricist explored this concept, art and chaos. Art in itself is an attempt to bring order out of chaos. Stephen Sondheim. You know, I mean, it makes so much sense with music, right? There's noise, like in the world before music, there was noise. There's like bears outside and crickets, and we humans like just made music. We made order out of it. I promise I don't think you guys are dumb. This is photography. I put this here because I want to make it really clear, like even at the root, we are drawing with light. We're light drawers. And we're taking the chaos of light and we're making photos. We're musicians in that sense, right? This psychologist, Linda Henkel, she started doing these things where she would show people a bunch of objects. She'd say, remember the objects, and see how they did. And then she'd have them take a photo of the objects and see how they did. And what she found is that as soon as you hit click on that camera, it's as if you've outsourced your memory. Like, you're not remembering anymore. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. My calendar does. I cannot remember the phone number in years. So we're starting to outsource our memory. Anytime we count on these external memory devices, we're taking away from the kind of mental cognitive processes that might help us actually remember the stuff of our own. So, like, wait, what? We're making memories for people. They rely on us. They're not remembering anymore. We're doing that for them. That's our job. That's intense. And of course, we're working at some of the most life-changing, the most important. They did a study where they looked at stress levels and what's most likely to affect your life. They rated things like life-changing points, and weddings were on this list, right? With like the death of parents, and it's pretty unanimous. You like look online, what's the most important moment in your life? These things come up: the birth of a child, the death of a dog, a wedding. This is the world that we work in, like the world of the most important moments of your life, making memories for people. And so, how do we create powerful images for our couples? That's, in the end, and honestly, so many of these themes have been touched upon. So if anything, I hope I can kind of wrap up some of the themes that we're running through these things and give you guys a clear message about this, an answer to this question. Section 1, intro. Helena is beautiful. I'm married up, right? We looked it up yesterday, and 73 camels. My wife is worth 73 camels. I am at best a 65 camel man. Okay? Not bad, but she's 73. I never even went into who I am, right? So I'm Laurent Martin. My background is really varied. I was a jack of all trades. I started out as an oil painter. I was an oil painter for about 10 years, formally trained in art. By the time I went to college, every summer was intensive art programs. I was trained. There was a lot of training. And so naturally, I went from that to be a circus clown in a human oddities freak show. And yes, if you look online, you can probably find a video of me urinating fire. So that's out there. Went from that, natural career jump, became an art car mechanic, worked for Burning Man for 5 years. And when you work at Burning Man, any problem that happens at a wedding is like not a problem. You're just like, you guys are freaking out over this? This is nuts. I don't have anything. And, in the process, I built these websites for a freak show. I did the booking, the branding, everything. I was like, I can do this as a job. I can do a dentist website. So I became a web developer. And I think I was in my sweatpants that whole time because there's no photos of me as a web developer anywhere. And then, eventually we made the jump, and web developer. That's one of my favorite photos of myself. I can't really separate the beginning of the business from the beginning of the relationship. Like it's one thing, okay? We met in an art show, mutual friend. Took a while to get together. We started dating. We were inseparable. And a friend asked us to shoot a wedding, and she was going to shoot it. We both had these art backgrounds. And we couldn't bear to be away from each other for a day, so we negotiated that I would get like free dinner if I came and shot wedding photos with them. And I had like an iPhone that was so awesome. I was shooting on an iPhone the whole time. I had like a crop sensor camera. We left and we were like blown away. Like, this is a job? Like, this is a job? No way. And so that night we started a website. We went for it, and we just jumped in. And about a year's time, we were pretty fully committed. We had a big wedding in Bernal Heights. A guy who's still getting started with his career, a guy named Mirov Patel, shot our wedding. He was friends with Helena beforehand, so that we were so naive to weddings that we thought the officiant brought the license. So when it was done, we were like, so what do we sign? He was like, I don't know. Did you have anything to sign? And so we flew to Vegas, and we eloped at a drive-through wedding chapel in Vegas. Actually, here's a photo of me. This is me at my first wedding. You can see there's actually a dog in my bag.
Oh my God.
That was the first. People love you when you have a little dog in your bag at wedding. It's not a bad thing. So our principle moving forward with business was like the opposite of dogma. I mean, we weren't looking for the answer. We actually really resonated with something a friend told me, this guy, Pearl, who runs adventure companies in Indonesia. He said, change is not a commitment to that change. And that was like so hugely helpful in our fights over what to do next. Because we could just change back. Like, raise your prices, change them back. Offer a package, don't offer a package. Maybe try something out with one couple. It works great, do it again, don't do it again. Nothing mattered. Like, it took the pressure way off because we weren't committed to that, and we weren't looking for like, this is how you build your business, 10 steps to making a successful business. I don't know if that's true. Like, you gotta learn your own business. In the end, you're gonna come up here, and you're gonna say a bunch someday, and you're gonna be saying a bunch of stuff that you just figured out. Not the stuff that someone told you. So change is not a commitment to that change. And like, it fucking worked. First year, we did 5 weddings, right? Second year, we did 30. Also, a graph, right? Right? A graph? Okay. Thought you'd be impressed with that. By the third year, we did 42 weddings, you know? And all the while, we're raising our prices. Like, we started way under, of course, like everyone does. We raised. And we had an ethos, right? We had a way of thinking about photography that was totally built out of the fact that we had been married. We came from it from a totally different perspective as a couple getting married. And so for us, the experience of creating the image is more important than the image all the time. And we also believe that by valuing that, ultimately by putting the experience first, that's how we get the best images. And so we just kept going with that. And I'll show you so that you respect me. Some photos. I mean, I put this in because this is honestly one of the first photos that Helena shot. She went out with a friend. We didn't know what we were doing. I think this might be on a crop sensor. I want to show you how brilliant we are when we're naive. Like when we have no idea what we're doing, we all have a shot like this. Like, wait, what? How did I do that 2 years ago? We put their heads together, a little wind tunnel formed, didn't expect that. Her hair started flopping around. I was trying to focus on their face. I kept messing up the focus. Turns out that was a good thing. This couple made time to go sunset on the beach, and we were just moving to a new location, and this is how they walk, which is crazy. God, this girl with her green cape, and some of these people we work with, they're just, I feel like I pressed the button, and they're just so brilliant. This is Big Sur, Costa Big Sur. Lena looked over at me, she says, "Oh my God, the dog's eating the cake." And I turn around and go, click, got it. Good. This couple did their first look at her family home. It just read like a Wes Anderson to me. I saw that symmetry and it just resonated, right? The movie. I watch movies. I don't look at wedding photos. I watch movies. I can't make photos like this. I pressed the button and it happened. It happened, right? You can't make a photo like this. It happened. A moment before the ceremony, a bathroom, some really beautiful light, a kiss. I pressed the button. Hey, go out there and wait. She'll come and get you. Whitney, yeah, just go get him. I'm like way over there. I pressed the button. The groomsmen and bridal party asked if they could watch the first look. And so we said, yeah, go up there. There's a window up there, you can watch. And we turned around. We had the first looks there, and we were like, oh, there. I love this image. It's a beautiful story. So beautiful. When you need a hug from the bride, you got to get a hug from the bride. So you just go in there. We did a hike down to a beach called Mile Rock Beach in San Francisco, and we really let them just kind of explore. The sun was doing something beautiful, and I think they liked doing this. She hopped in his arms a lot, and so she hopped in his arms. We didn't ask them to do this. They did this. I can't control horses. I can't. So obviously this just happened. This is a popular location, Mount Davidson in San Francisco. It's a fallen tree, and we just put them in a spot and walked around until we found a good shot. I don't think they had any direction. They're a really cute, sweet couple. Daughter and father, a hug. I like this photo a lot, and what I like about it is that we didn't plan it. It was actually the last location we went to. We went to a waterfall first. It was like, whoa, waterfall. It's upstate New York, right? And we're shooting, and one of us, maybe the groom says, hey, it's like American Gothic, and I'm like, wait. We run in the barn and we found a couple like rakes, and we handed them the rakes, and we press the button. There you go. The bride's dad was like, I know this road down the spot that's awesome. And we're like, really? And we're like, okay. Jumped in a car and he took us to this place that we'd never been to and didn't know about. And it was awesome. Listen to those cues, like follow the inspiration. Those crowns just fall, she tried to catch it. And it's so peaceful and so perfect, but I'm not creative enough to make an image like that. Like the crown fell. That light, that harsh light going right in the middle of the aisle that you're like, oh my God, why did they do that to me, son? We're rotating between exposures really quick. We're just flipping the dial and knocking it out when we got there. And Helena caught this shot right as the daughter and the dad walked through the light, and we couldn't have planned it better. Oh, this couple, man. They got stuck on a mountain together. Like when I looked them up, because I counter stalk our couples, so I stalk back. I know they're stalking me, I do it back to them. They got stuck on a mountain together for like 3 days. They were like in the news, and we after their wedding, we went to this fort under the Golden Gate Bridge, and there was literally like 5 minutes to they were closing. They were like, you got 5 minutes to shoot. This is how bad we are at planning, right? We're closing now. We ran to the top. They jumped up on this thing. They held each other. They gave a kiss. She's like, my hair is going everywhere. We're like, don't worry about your hair. You're fine. And this happened. And it felt so perfect. Like it was their story. It was their experience. And I don't think I could have made it if it wasn't closing. I don't think I could have made it if I planned to be there on time. This came out of necessity. Now, by far the most successful image we've ever published is this. This is my dog, Lunga. This is by far. And that brings us to the section 2, death. This is a burial ritual in Indonesia. They have a very, very different understanding of death than we do. Okay, Lunga. Lunga was like the dog love of my life. I adopted her from a pound when I was like 20. I wasn't ready to be responsible for another thing. Asked me as a clown, callback clown with her on the side. Probably the worst, most awesome portrait ever taken. Right next to it. I was part of the village people in the village. We toured around. We lived in a bus together. We toured around the country together. She went to Burning Man like 5 times. I flew her on airplanes. I took her on boats. I made a promise to this dog when I got her from the pound that she went from having a life that was just getting like narrower and darker and sadder. And I promised to give her a life that was full, as full as I could. I snuck her into restaurants just so she could see what that was like. Right? And then when she was about 9.5, she got some kind of lymphoma. And we decided to start treating it. And about 6 months later, she got like this tumor in her neck. And we had to put her down. And it was, I mean, I cried for like a month. I couldn't even move. And the options they give you is like, okay, we'll cremate the dog for you with like a bunch of other dogs. If you want, it's like $10. Or you can pay like $300 and we'll cremate it alone. Or you can take it and you can bury it. And so we decided that we would give it a funeral worthy of a best friend. You know, this is how we honor life. Helena was just getting started with photography. She had, I don't know, again, I think we had a crop sensor. I think we're shooting this stuff on a variable. And my friends came out and we gathered flowers from the neighborhood and we went to my friend's house and we dug, my friend who was trained to be a firefighter, this guy Caleb here, the little tattoo on his arm, we dug a 6-foot hole. That's me in the hole. And we laid Lunga down in the bottom and we surrounded her by flowers. We actually made a bed of flowers before we put her down. I didn't want her to touch the dirt. You know, I didn't want her to be dirty. It's not respectful. And, you know, and Helena, I think, just coped with it by shooting it, you know, and I coped with it by crying and putting down the flowers. Took about, I don't know, 2 months to kind of process through it, and we realized that we needed to share these. Like, that this was important. We didn't know how or where, but we needed to show people these photos. Like, this was important. And so we wrote one of the people at My Modern Met. She was a dog lover, and she was like, yeah, we need to show people these images. And so we put it on My Modern Met, and it was awesome. Like, we got like 4,000 people to the site, and that was like huge for us. We were like, whoa. We didn't expect this, but then it got like picked up by like other sites. Like, most of the internet is just sites copying other sites, and it got picked up, and it like started flying around the world, flying. And so this was like a normal day of traffic for us. 39 hits on January 3rd since like 2013. And then one day we looked at it and there was 14,404 people. It's like, holy, what the? I love looking at analytics. You know, I see those little dots popping up on the map and I feel connected to people in Russia and Japan. So we didn't know what to expect. We didn't think this would happen. And then this happened. We started getting letters. Like, people started writing us nonstop. Your story touched me to the soul. The love of my life was and is Ruby, a red gladiator Dobie. I lost her over 10 years ago. She lived to be a happy 17 years. I just felt compelled to share this with you after being touched by the photos of Lunga. Well done, and thank you for sharing it with us. Over the years, I've had best friends that meant the world to me. I would get emotional over their death, and people would say, it's just a dog. No, it's family. Thanks for sharing your moment with us all. We validated her love for her dog against like all these people trying to tell her it wasn't real. When I lost my chocolate lab 15 years ago, it was one of the hardest deaths I ever faced. I wish that I had your idea. We did have him cremated and then poured some of his ashes into the pond where he went swimming everywhere. I mean, what the hell? How many of you guys have lost a dog? Okay. It's like, how many of you guys have seen a dog burial? Many less. We don't have this information. Like, we don't share this stuff. And she didn't know what to do. She probably did like the community cremation. That's not how you honor a friend. I mean, this keeps going, right? This keeps going. Thanks for sharing. We lost our general. People were just sharing, like, sharing and connecting with us. And it was incredibly moving for us. We never realized how powerful images could be. And we started to think about this, right? The photos help people connect with the important parts of their own story. So when they were looking at my dog, they were going back to their dog. When you post photos of your kids, they're looking at their kids. Photos help people connect with themselves and their own story. That, to me, that was an important lesson. And this is another one that really sticks with me. And I think this is a theme. We've heard this theme in a lot of the talks this week. Vulnerability inspires connection, inspires human connection. People felt connected to us because we showed how vulnerable we are. I'm gonna bring you guys back up because it sucks looking at dead dog photos. And I'm going to tell you another example of vulnerability inspires connection. So just forget about the dog. We're going to talk about pooping now. I was living in my van. I was hanging out with my best friend. I'm outside his house, and we're hanging out. And I walk out his house. I'm going down the stairs. I live in a van. Okay, so I'm that guy. Walk down the stairs. I got a fart. I'm in the staircase, so it's classic. Right? I'm in the staircase. And I have to fart, and I said, I'm gonna fart, I'm like, no one's here. And so I let it go, but it's not a fart. It's a shart. I started my pants. Okay, so I start my pants, and I go down to the van, and I'm like flooded with embarrassment and shame, and I'm like, thank God I live so close to my house. I'm playing in my van, like cleaning up, and it took me weeks. Like, it's weird because I felt compelled to tell people. Like, I felt like I have to tell somebody that I just started, but also like the same, like equally loud voice. You are not telling anyone you just started. It took me, I don't know, a month. And then I sat down with my friend, we're like drinking beer, and I'm like, dude, I gotta tell you something. Last month when I left your house, I sharted in the hallway. What was interesting about it is that his response was, oh, dude, I pooped my pants like 2 years ago. And what I realized is this thing, vulnerability inspires human connection. Like, there's probably a handful. You don't need to raise your hand. No, you don't have to raise your hand. But it's hard not to, right? It's hard not to. You might feel compelled to tell me about the time you sharted. Because vulnerability inspires human connection. We can't help it, right? It makes us more human, and we're so kind that we want to reach out. Cool. So now we're thinking about pooping ourselves, right? All right. Then that's the appropriate segue into the next section, life. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that story. It was horrifying to tell. Life. Helena and I went into our 4th year trying to make good plans. We wanted to work less than 42 weddings, right? Like, that's way too much. We decided to make a little less money. Making money isn't always the best thing for you. We want to figure out a healthy, sustainable business. We decided to make less. We decided that at some point we should probably have a baby because we're getting older. We should get this started. And so we also knew that people try and it doesn't work. And so we just kind of stopped trying, and it happened in the worst possible way. We booked CPC and then found out Helena was pregnant. And her due date, was September 9th. That was okay. She was still going to come. It was all right. And we had to take a month off of our season, the busiest month. It's hard financially. We bought a home in the same year, and everything kind of just started falling apart. This has been my year, by the way. We started planning. We planned on a home birth. We planned on having a month off. We planned on having time to get ready to do this partnership presentation at CPC, right? We had all this time. We're taking time off to be with the baby. We were happy about that. And so, September 9th rolled around. It was the due date. Nothing. No contractions, nothing. And we just hung out. We watched, we were just hanging out. We're just waiting and waiting. The waiting is so hard. And it brought up this idea, this lesson that shows up in a lot of creative processes, which is that you have to make a plan and then you have to throw it out. It comes up in improv a lot. Improvisers will try to plan what they're going to do when they go on stage because it's impossible not to plan. When you're out of control, you plan. This is how one of the ways that we cope with anxiety. But when we're in the moment, that plan doesn't really serve us. It can let us down, it can disappoint us, and actually lead to that disappointment. So you make a plan, we made a plan, and then when we got there, that plan just like, first thing that went in the trash. Now we react. Now we see what's happening. It kept going. I mean, a week went by. Do you know how hard it is when you're a week past your due date for those who have had children? It's so hard. It's so hard. You feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel like it's not going to happen. And at some point, we really didn't want to go to the hospital. It was really important to us that we do this homework. That was our plan. And we really didn't want, neither one of us, the idea of being in a hospital at all. It sounded horrible. So it was very important to us. And as time went on, we saw that plan starting to get harder and harder to realize. We were a day before she had to go in and get stress testing. They listened to the baby do ultrasound. And we were one day before, and then on Tuesday, the second week, the contractions started, 5 p.m. She started getting them. Like, what a relief. She can do it. Contractions will happen. You can see her. This is just the beginning for her in her journey. She stayed up all night, just trying to manage the contractions. The contractions started pretty strong. This is the next morning. Our dog Lucky, this is our new love of our life, spent the whole time by her feet, supporting her, protecting her. It's really beautiful. Beautiful to see how we fall into place like this, right? And as the day went on, the midwife came by. She said, I think this could be happening. She's been up all night. They're getting to be about 4-1, so we're getting like a minute-long contraction, 4 minutes between. But then they just kept going like that into the night. Wednesday night, we ran a bath. Baths help you deal with the pain. They help you relax. You have to relax when things are going bad. You got to learn to just take a bath. And so we hoped, at all points we hoped. And that night I remember, do I go to bed? Do I wait? What's going to happen? What do I do? And at some point I said, honey, look, I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm unconscious, sure. But if you need anything, I'm awake. And when I woke up in the next morning, it continued. So now we're Thursday morning. We started Tuesday afternoon. It continues. The contractions are still like 414. She's starting to dilate a little. It's hard looking at some of these photos and seeing the pain she's in. It's really intense what she's going through. And she's reaching a point now where she doesn't want to do this anymore. She doesn't want to go through any further. And this is the point where you start going like, okay, is there a way that I can get around this problem? Do you have medicine? Do you have painkillers? Do you have, what can you do so that I do not have to do this? And that happens. This is where we get when things get really hard. That's one of the ways we cope as well, is we try to get out of it. We try to just get out of it. God, it's so hard seeing her face like that. Crutches. So in the artistic process, I think we have the same exact thing. We get frustrated. It is so hard to make art. It is so hard to create. When we get to that place, we start looking for things that we've done before. We start looking for our own photos to copy. We start looking for other people's photos to copy. We pull out our prisms and our mirrors and our doubles and anything we know that is safe and can allow us to, kind of move around the issue of actually making a really creative decision, because it gets so hard. And so this is what we look for. We look for crutches. This is what I call them. And I think about this when I'm working, and I can't get the image to work. I can't find it. I go yeah, this is hard. what can I do to make this work without just relying on a safe shot or relying on, and by all means, if safe shots get you through your day or if that makes you feel better, that's great. But we're just talking about being creative and how to create something new for yourself. Continues, right? Thursday evening, we run another bath. Baths help deal with the pain, right? They help you a little. Helena is just, she doesn't think she can do it anymore. There's actually a point, like this is crazy, but there's a point in labor called the transition. And one of the things that marks the transition is you're like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And we're just, I mean, you can see it. It's in her face. She doesn't know anymore. Like, she's just lost all hope of whether or not she can go any further. It brings me back to this thing. I in school, with all my formal art education, I worked for a lot of artists. One of the artists was an artist named Judy Pfaff, a fairly well-known installation artist. And she would say this all the time, and it stuck with me all the time, right? People always want to give up when it's really hard, when it gets really hard. But that's the moment right before you create something really amazing. This was an observation she was making about the students that she was working with, that when things got really hard, that's when everyone was like, okay, I'm done. And they'd hang it on the wall. She's like, no, you got to push through that. That moment, and I love this because we're so adverse to frustration. We're so adverse to it being difficult. Like we do all this work to make it less difficult for us. But what if that difficultness, what if that frustration is actually the indication that you're right at the edge of creating something really beautiful? That's like that's a whole different perspective. Like we're not trying to avoid frustration. We're like, oh, this is too easy. Let's make it hard. You know, let's push further. Let's do the thing that is hard for us to do. Another bath. It's nighttime now. It continues. I mean, seriously, it just kept going. 414, on and on and on. She was dilated, you know, for those who know about labor, she was dilated about 7 centimeters. But 3 centimeters is a long way to go. And she went in the bath. I mean, she hadn't eaten. This is now the third night. You stop eating. You don't really want to eat. You don't sleep. She was so tired and so hungry. And but she went in the bath. Her contractions started to slow down, to get further apart. That is so scary. Like you're at the edge of something great and it's like falling apart. Like think about doubt, right? So we decided to give her an IV. She got an IV bag, and the midwife decided, I think you need to rest. I think you need to stop. You're banging your head against the wall. And if you haven't noticed, I actually believe that the process of creating a person is exactly like the process of creating anything else. If you haven't noticed the parallel I'm drawing, right? It's the same thing. Take a break. Take a break. Don't bring your camera. Go take a break. Go see a movie. Go. This is not walking around the creative process. This is being calm. This is collecting yourself so you can go back into it. Take a break. I woke up that morning, and the midwife did to check the dilation, see how she was doing, and there was like a eureka moment. It happened. The break worked. She needed to rest, and by resting, this last 3 centimeters happened on their own. She just needed to let it happen. Sometimes the process of creation is just allowing it to happen. Okay, here we go. 7:30 a.m. You reach. She's pushing through, right? She's pushing through that struggle. She's pushed through it all. She's pushing. She started. I mean, her face says it all, right? Our plan was to do it in the bath. Screw that plan out. That didn't happen. No way. We're at the foot of our bed here. They lay it out. Helena's like, I am not pushing all day. That is not going to happen. So she's like, "Ah!" At some point, the baby, Theo pops out, heads out. She feels it. She's like, they must know. And then all of a sudden, the midwife goes like, oh my God, there's a head. Laurent, do you want to catch me? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I stand out in front of her, and he comes out, and I pull him out, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, still, I don't. It's so weird. It's so a person comes out of Helena. I pull him up, and I throw him into her arms. And this is it. And he's just gone, ah, this is the beginning. You see her look. She doesn't know what's going on either. We're both totally confused. What is this thing? And I have my camera on the side. It's just set for the room. I have a 35 millimeter on. I didn't change lenses at all. Honestly, I didn't want to think about that. I didn't think it was important anyway. Like, this is Friday morning, 8:35 a.m. Theo comes out. This is a minute into his birth. I mean, I missed the focus. I don't know if anything's in focus. I love this photo. I love this photo. This moment that I have, this moment that I can connect back to that moment with my 35 millimeter lens on. I think it was like my cheap one. And, you know, what are we doing arguing about cameras and lenses? Like, come on, get over it. Helena summarized this whole experience well, and I just felt like I needed to quote her. A 10-month wait, 2 days and 3 nights of labor, a broken body, crazy hormonal nosedives, and uncontrollable crying. Pure baby bliss and unrivaled love. Making a human has broken me while simultaneously showing me how strong I am. During labor, I wondered why it had to be so hard and so painful, but why should it be easy? The best things in life, the most rewarding journeys, they're never the easy ones. Don't avoid the hard stuff. This is where you get the good stuff, right? This is baby Theo, 6 days in. Born on the last day of the 42nd week. He's already got an agent. Beautiful baby. 8 pounds, 22 inches. So what can we take from this? You went to a photography conference and a guy showed you photos of his baby, right? What the hell is going on up here? This is what we take from this. The process of creativity is almost always difficult and frustrating. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Don't look for shortcuts. There's no such thing as a shortcut to creativity. You have to struggle. Embrace it. And you already know everything you need to know to be creative. Do you know that humans are the only animal that takes a birth class? Yeah? You guys, how many of you have kids? What happens when you hand them crayons? Creativity. It's so natural for us. We like start shutting it down, you know, like we want to look good and be cool and take good photos and like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I got it figured out. I'm a grown up now. Yeah, come on. We don't know what we're doing. Creativity comes naturally. You already know everything you need to know. There's no skill. There's no camera trick. There's nothing. You know this already. We're taking light, bouncing off of people. We're taking chaos, and we're making it into something valuable for people. We're making it into a memory for someone. We're making something new. This is creativity. That's what creativity is. Something from nothing. A person came out of Helena. So that brings us to section 4, weddings. Now, actually, after the baby was born, our plans were so messed up that I went and worked in a photo booth gig. I was out for 8 hours because my attendant was at a music festival or something. And then the next day I shot a wedding. And this is the image I took. 63 hours of labor. I puked when I came home from the photo booth gig because I was so tired. And I showed this image, and not another image that we'd done a while ago or an image that we won an award on, to say that, like, you can do crazy things when you push yourself past the place that you feel comfortable with. When you are so tired that you can't remember how to make an image anymore, or you can't remember how your prism works, or you just don't fucking care because you're way too tired to get your prism out, you do some really cool things. So don't be afraid to push yourself. As an artist, don't be afraid to push yourself. Sometimes you have to go past that spot to really make something beautiful. Joe and Melissa, man, beautiful couple. High school together, reconnected later in life. It's Joe, just a beautiful man. They're beautiful kids. Melissa down there. I had a wedding at a place called Soda Rock in Healdsburg. The Bay Area is a very diverse place. We have a lot of different areas to shoot. Beautiful, beautiful wedding, beautiful couple. And before the wedding, their son was like determined to make it about him. Like determined. He would not let this be their day. Actually, this is him before the wedding, like freaking out. That's the dad, that's mom, you know, like there's the happy bride. They had a gorgeous ceremony in this beautiful barn, Soda Rock. So we were curious. We went out. We have a mailing list. If you don't have a mailing list, just start one. Like seriously, it seems so weird. You're like, you get a couple people, but you'll see. Like eventually, you'll be like, oh my god, I got so many people I can email now, like that. So we started it. We have like 100 people on our mailing list now. It's a great thing to have, and we wanted to know like what images do you like? We know what images we like. I mean, we're photo snobs. Like a bird flies by, a double rainbow, and I'm like, ooh. What do you like? In the middle of her ceremony, their kid like threw a tantrum again, and like just stood up and like walked in the middle of it. And of all the pictures, she picked that one. Her kid's interrupting her ceremony, like destroying it. Like you could see the planner on the side being like, no, 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 no. And this is the photo she likes the most. Her son like ruining her day. I chose this photo because after having a child, nothing is ever really about you anymore, even your wedding day. This image captures how much Nolan, that's Nolan over there, was a part of the day, and also shows in my face how much unconditional love I have for him. And that's funny because my favorite image was this one. I'm like, whoa, how'd we get that angle? How cool, different, right? This is what I connected with personally. Helena has a different choice, but for me, this was it. I'm a photo snob, right? We're photo snobs. Like, you're drinking that wine? Shwill. But our couples aren't. And you know what? Even if they are, they're so emotionally connected to these images. They're so biased that I don't think they look at them like photo snobs. We do, but they don't. So we did this. We got a lot of these images back. And actually, it was really universal. It was like very clear that this was happening. You know, see their faces, their hands together represented walking into a new part of their life, hand in hand. Captures an authentic emotional moment for them. This is why. They're farm people, this couple. This is a tree on the property that he grew up on. And they like how they felt small compared to the tree and the people. That the connection that they felt with the land and the people. This is why this photo resonated for them. God, I had to throw this one in. She hates her double chin. She hates her double chin. If someone told me that, I wouldn't even give them this photo. I'd be like, okay, you're not going to like this. Despite the fact that she even tells us it's not a flattering picture for her, right? She said, I felt like shit that day. She was sick. She felt horrible. And let's see what she said. It was mid-morning on a Wednesday, but somehow there was a guy in a car just strumming on his guitar, right? And he politely relocated in order for us to have a good shot under the tree. And I asked them to nuzzle. I don't know if you know what nuzzling is, but it's lovely. And this is what she says: faced with the harsh, hilarious reality, it's like snot coming out of her nose. I've asked her to nuzzle. The harsh, hilarious reality of our failure in the art of nuzzling, this moment happened. Love that. Just love that. I wouldn't have even given him this photo. During the family portraits, at some point, they look down at their dog. We're aware. We're always looking. These are moments. Even the planned moments are moments to capture the in-between, right? Opportunities. They like how it shows their silliness, how silly their family is. This was like the easiest photo ever. And like when I do photos like this, I'm like, that's it. Okay. You want a photo in front of the backdrop? It's just their faces. It's their moment. It's the way they make each other feel, right? They both knew that this was their favorite. They were like, I know exactly which one we want to send them. This one. I don't know if you noticed too that there's like a lot of black and whites. We deliver like 3/4 color. I don't even know if they care about our processing. Like we care a lot about our processing, but I don't know if they do. Right? Look for moments over mountains. The mountains are for us. The birds are for us. The double rainbows are for us. Look for moments. Look for interactions, a touch. Right? Like James Day said, right? He was looking for every moment where there was human connection, every hand, every touch. Look for those. Look for eye connections. Look for smiles. These are the moments that our couples really want. These are the moments that our couples will print and value and cherish because they connect them with their own story, right? Be specific, not original. We try so hard to be creative. Don't try to be creative. You don't need to try to be creative. You are creative. Look for things. It's presumptuous to think that we know what our couples will value. We don't know. Make photos. Look for interactions. You don't reinvent the wheel. Just take photos. The most powerful images happen on our own. I mean, for our couples, this is true. This is absolutely true. This is what we saw. Like, they just happen. They just happen. We just press the button when they happen. And I think this is it. I think that in the end, this is like the biggest, shortest sentence. Stay in the moment. Just be there. Be there now. When I start shooting, I look up, take deep breaths. I listen to birds. I try to be there, not in my head, not thinking about the photos. I spent most of the morning listening to music, so I could just be here for you guys. Just wanted to practice being here for a minute. We went through a lot of stuff. And we've learned a lot of these themes. These themes have come up throughout the week. So let me see if I can kind of like wrap this up for you guys, give you an answer to that question. How do we make more powerful images for our couples? All right. So here we go. This is it. This is it in a nutshell. The world is chaotic, and we turn that chaos into human memory, right? We understand that. We explain that. The process of creating something from nothing is always hard. It's always hard. Expect it. Look for it. Look for the frustration because that's creation. We make images because they help people connect. We have a purpose. It's really intense. It's a really big one. We do a really noble job. And because documenting love is probably one of the best fudging jobs in the world. Although technically I looked it up, it's not actually a fudging job. That's when you make chocolate at a factory. The most powerful images are the ones that connect the viewer to important people or moments in their life. This could be a moment in your life that they're connecting with their own. This could be their own life. Embrace the chaos. Stay in the moment. Don't get lost in your head. Don't be creative. Don't start thinking about the next spot. Don't start thinking about what you're there to do. Be there with them. Be present. Press the button. I thought I'd pull you out one of my favorite photos from our wedding. Like this photo, I always remember. What the hell is going on here? My friend Melvin there. This is Melvin here. he pushed my friend Micah, he was the officiant, into a giant plate of pate. Right? So Micah grabs a bottle of champagne. This is my friend Bruce, that's Helena's dad in the background, and runs over and pours the bottle of champagne down my friend. I had a fun wedding. And Nirav, in his whatever, turns around and just presses the button. There's no focus. There's nothing going on in this photo. This is it for me. This is my wedding. I love this photo. It's so weird. I took a YouTube class on presenting, so we're going to end it with deep thoughts. Deep thoughts. What I want from you guys, what I'd like to see, what I'd be curious about is what would happen if next time you go into your shoot, you just say like, I'm not going to rely on the shot that I know. I'm not going to copy a shot. I'm not going to copy my own shot. I'm not going to rely on my tricks. I'm not going to rely on my prism. I'm not going to rely on something safe. I'm just going to throw out my crutches. You know, they're gone. I'm just going to take photos. Can I do it? Can I just press the button? I think my theory would be something like this. Yeah, there he goes. There he goes. He's getting creative. Here he goes. Yeah, that could be you at a wedding, taking photos. There you go. All right, one last thing, because I told Sherry that there she is. I told her that I'd tell you guys. This is something that I do to help me become aware of my body and help me relax. And it's something that I learned on the side of the stage about to enter into an improv show years ago. A guy named Chewy, he looks at us. You remember, I told Sherry this because, like I said, it is difficult to get up here, and it's hard, and it makes you feel really tense and nervous. So I says, look, this is what I learned. This is what I do. So, remember this, right? We did this. It worked. I said, okay, guys, I want you to become aware of your body. You can do this, man, if you want. I want you guys all to become aware of your body. Just feel your body. Think about it. Try your feet and your legs. Okay? Feel it. Now, I want you to become aware of your legs, your thighs. Become aware of your butthole. Is your butthole tight? Is it? Relax. Just let it go. Just relax it. Relax your hips. Your butthole is tight. Right? You hold a lot of tension in your butthole. And as silly as it seems, I do this. I did this morning. I relaxed my butthole. Relaxed my butthole before coming up here. For you. For you. So, relax. I think we still have time for Q&A. We're actually at about 57 minutes so far. How about that?
I'm wondering how much of the process when you're creating is like really just free falling moments that just happen, not directed, not posed, and like I guess what's the percentage between the stuff that really kind of posed, planned, directed versus just the free flying stuff?
I mean, the portraits are the only time that we're directing at all. And a lot of that stuff is really a mix. We try to give our couples a lot of self-expression in their photos. So we purposely are pretty vague about things. I mean, we want to help them make beautiful photos. So if something's awkward, we'll be like, hey, guys, just drop your arms and like, big hug. And we'll just see how they hug. Or, you know, a lot of time we'll put them in a place or say, hey, I just want you to go over there and, you know, check out the view. We're going to figure out. I often admit a lot that I don't know the photo that I'm going to take. I just say, look, I'm going to try to figure out what I'm doing here. And that takes me off the hook. Yeah, we think we have to like know what we're doing. Like that's what being a professional is. No, that's just your images. They know you can take photos. So saying that you're involved in a creative process and you don't know what photo you want yet, that takes you off the hook and it lets them go. And honestly, they think you're supposed to be telling them stuff, so they're like, great. I'll be like, if you guys see anything you like, just go check it out. And so it's always a mix.
So when you get a couple that shows up to an engagement session or even on their wedding day, and they're like so relying on you, 1,000,000% for every shot, for direction, like it's almost impossible to get them out of their shell because they're so intently focused on you telling them what to do.
Yep.
And you really don't want to tell them what to do. You just want them to be, just be free, like live, love, be yourself, be natural. And they can't. They cannot.
Yeah, so that's a big question. Like, what do you do when you get this couple who's expecting you to direct, right? It's expecting you to help them be comfortable and casual and beautiful. I reset the expectation. I say, here's what I expect from you. This is it. I expect you to use every opportunity, every place that I put you in, every location we go to spend time with each other. And especially on your wedding day. And honestly, what we found is even the most awkward couples can make each other relax. And so if we can keep getting them back on each other, and we'll be like, look, you don't need to look at me. Like, just, it's super awkward right now that you're looking at me. You're holding each other tight and you're staring at me. Say, I'll ask you to look. I'll ask you to look at me. And give yourself a break, you know? You're off the hook then. And you've reset the expectation. A lot of it's just about managing that expectation. You know? Are there any other?
There's a question from the online broadcast.
Oh, cool. Oops. Yeah, you can look me up online while we talk.
Just wondering, when you're getting those really close-up moments, if you're trying to let people be in the moment as you're doing that, do you like to use Zooms and kind of stay back and let people do their thing? Or are you getting right in there more with drawings? What do you prefer with lenses and approaching that way?
I don't know. I don't know if it really in the end matters. I do like telephotos for street photography and even cocktail hour. I use my 85 a lot because it allows me to be further away. So I tend to opt for not getting in, but that's just about comfort. There's other times where you can just jump into a group with a 35 and make it happen. Yeah. Just want to thank you guys. We are social. Find us online. We have one of these things called a website. It's very cool if you haven't checked out a website. CPC, thank you so much. Everyone who woke up after the horrible things that you did last night to hear me talk is amazing. And of course, you know, thank you, Jasser, for thank you, Jasser. I figured you'd enjoy having Oprah's. This is actually the first slide I made for the whole presentation. All right, shut it down.